Well, welcome back everybody to Motorsport Manager and the Haas playthrough in the Fire mod. And we're edging towards the end of the season, just 5 races to go now. And the fight looks over between ourselves, Williams and Red Bull. I don't think we're going to be able to catch those two now that they've surpassed us. But we still do have, I don't know what my words are doing today, a rearguard action to fight in terms of Force India. I think we can hold them off. They scored pretty heavily last time out, but they don't make a regular occurrence of that. And Magnussen was much improved last time, so I'm hoping that we can definitely get him both cars into the points this time. I think Singapore is actually, to be fair, not a track that should suit our car because there's not many straights, but we'll see. We'll do the best we can. Someone did mention that we should maybe start doing the interviews again. Just turn to button it. The problem I hate is the interviews, a lot of them, I guess what I should do is just accept the interview, and I don't know if you can actually not answer it once you accept it, but my issue is things like that. There are some interviews where there's only negatives that can come out of it. I know we get positives in terms of making it easier to sign certain drivers from that, but that's, I seem to remember, is the main reason I stopped, because there are some choices that are just negative, and once you've accepted it, I'm not sure you can actually go back. Well, I guess I'll check that next time. But one thing I was going to do was build the scouting facility, because a lot of you did point out quite wisely that a lot of the Indy drivers and a lot of the American drivers might be behind the scouting facility. We might need to scout a bit more to be able to actually see them and scout the drivers themselves. So we will get that ball rolling, considering we're nicely in the green. Let's not forget, we're going to be saving until the end of the season now. We're not improving the car, and we're going to save as much money as we can for next year to try and build a great car and hopefully have a lot of money left over to develop it during the season and make a few upgrades to the HQ as well. I feel next season, this was sort of a stabilising year. Next season's really going to be a big push forward in terms of getting the facilities and the car level up, and really seeing what we can achieve for sort of the next 2 seasons once we start investing the money wisely. Right, I will select the reliability of a few things. Let's go for the rear wing, and we may as well max out the engine as well, because that's always helpful as we're always pushing it so hard. But we're probably only going to go 5 because we'll concentrate on the performance more than anything else, trying to eke those last little bit of numbers out of the parts that we've already built. It's a very Haas thing to do. Of course, as I think I mentioned last time out, Haas haven't developed their car in 16-17, and 18 is the first season they're developing it in season, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do this year. So Leclerc's won the Sky TT race. Is that on a bike? Oh, the Isle of Skye. No, it's the Isle of Man, isn't it? I don't know what the Isle of Skye TT is, but good job. It is motorbikes. Motorbike champion. That's probably to avoid copyright, to be fair, to say Isle of Skye. So he's increased his smoothness and marketability. Good job, lad. Just getting better and better all the time. K-Mag trying to pander us up by telling us how good the car is. We know, K. We know. And unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be here next year. I don't know if that's going to piss people off. I don't know if the news has broken through to the K-Mag fans yet, but it's very unlikely he's going to be here next year. I think we're either going to bring in an American IndyCar driver, or we will go big. And I was reading through your comments. Alonso seems to be a favourite for most, but there is a chance he will ask for quite a lot of money, in which case we'll probably go for Daniel Ricciardo, or try to anyway. But let's actually see how they're getting on. Do we actually have those guys on our list? I don't think we do. So let's go all. Let's filter by Formula 1. So where is Ricciardo? Ricciardo's currently on. See, he's a lot cheaper, Daniel Ricciardo. We may as well scout him as well, just so that we know. Verstappen is ridiculously cheap as well, to be honest. He's probably the best driver to go for in terms of money. But Alonso is on 2.5 million a race. That's the thing. We could save so much money by going for Ricciardo or Verstappen. Let me know what you guys think next time. The smart thing to do would be to go for Ricciardo or Verstappen. But my heart kind of wants to give Alonso one last hurrah in maybe a vaguely competitive car and see how he does. But he would effectively wipe out our balance if we did that. So there's plenty of reason not to, let's be fair. Right, same parts as last time, of course, we haven't built anything. So as per usual, I shall get practice underway and be back with you guys shortly for qualifying. Okay, into qualifying we go then. It was once again a pretty tough qualifying session, practice session even. With only one driver really providing any kind of great feedback level. So we've maxed out race trim. We've got a little bonus for qualifying, so that's alright. We managed to get 99% with Ferrucci in the car, in Leclerc's car, but couldn't quite get that 100% unfortunately. But still, pretty good setups on both cars, and once again we're going to be hoping to challenge on the fringes of the top 10, if not just in it. And then hopefully this will be the race, guys. We'll get both cars in the points. I can feel it. You know, it's a very windy track, not one that really suits our car. It's going to be very hot, so tyre wear is going to be pretty difficult to deal with. But apart from that, I think we stand a good chance. Once again, just 600ths of a second between our two drivers. The times aren't looking particularly great. Mercedes have such an advantage. You know, I think this could be an even longer series than Motorsport Manager. The single-seater playthrough, sorry. If we're going to try and win this one. Because the Ferraris and the Mercedes, as in real life, have got such an advantage. It's ridiculous. But our first attempt's really not great. 15th and 18th. And maybe are going to start reflecting the fact we're not developing the car. So hopefully they can improve in their second runs, because that's not really good enough to be challenging for points. But it does make it easier to go on an alternate strategy if we stay back there. So we'll have to wait and see. Right, let's send them on their second runs and hopefully they can find some improvement. Because God knows we need it. 17th and 19th now. And it's Force Indias we're really keeping an eye on here. And we've got Ocon in 7th, Perez in 9th. So once again, they're looking competitive for a double points finish. And that's what's been letting us down, really. We've been fighting with the Williams and Force Indias the last few races. And that's what we need to do. But we need both cars to be doing it. We need both cars to score if we've got any chance of holding off Force India. And holding on to the very slim hope that we could challenge Williams or Red Bull. I think Red Bull will probably pull ahead of Williams in the next few races. So I think it's Williams and Force India we're fighting, but most likely just Force India. But I'm kind of happy to just see how it goes. I'm kind of happy that we cut off the development so early, because it's going to save us a lot of money for next year. Build the best car we possibly can and hopefully have a lot left over for other stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. Right, Leclerc coming around the final corner now, so let's see if we improve. Leclerc goes P7th, Magnussen P13 then. A massive improvement from Leclerc, puts him right where he needs to be, but yet again Magnussen falling short of the mark, but we can try an alternative strategy from there. He's not out of it by all means, and that was a good improvement still. But yet again, Leclerc just seems to be moving away from Magnussen each race, especially in qualifying. And that's an incredible lap, to be honest, to put that car in P7. Considering the game still reckons our car is the worst on the grid, which I don't think it is, but that's what the game thinks, so it must be true, right? Wrong. Right, again, I don't think we need to worry with push to the limit. I'd much rather go for the performance bonus, because the car is pretty much bulletproof at this point with the work we've done. We're going to max out the fuel again so that we can try and obviously use the high fuel mode as much as possible. Now, we can't one-stop on the mediums. So, yet again, I think we're going to be aggressive with Leclerc. We're going to put him on the super soft tyres early on. And Kevin Magnussen, we'll go the opposite. We'll go onto the medium tyres and see how far he can take them. The super softs I really don't think are going to be a race tyre here, considering the temperatures. it's most likely going to be the soft tyres, and that's what we've done most of our practice on. But we're going to start both cars on different tyres than the soft tyres, because that's logical, right? Tell me that's logical. It's not really, is it? But that's what we're going to do. And Leclerc's had a shocker of a start. He's down to P12 and just been passed by his teammate. They're side by side. And Leclerc is down to 13th already. That is not good news. Right, we're going to go to neutral and high. We're going to go push and high and just let those mediums come up to temperature a little bit more from Magnussen. But that's a disaster of a start from Leclerc. He's really going to have to put in the hard yards for the rest of this first stint to make this strategy work, because he can't afford to be where he is if he's going to be stopping early. But on the other hand, we are going to be able to undercut some people, I would think. God, we're going backwards at a great rate of knots here. We've got similar strategies to everybody apart from the top four. And this is the other thing with the top four. They obviously feel they can push the engine a lot further than other people can. Whether that's because I don't think the fuel tanks hold any more than 100%, so they're going to have to save some fuel at some point. But they obviously can go aggressive early on, knowing they're going for the win. And our two drivers still battling, but instead of sort of 7th or 8th, as I hoped it would be, we are battling over 14th and 15th place. And I would almost suggest that Leclerc is holding up Magnussen at this point. He's just gone around the outside of Verstappen, hasn't made that move stick. So not really making any progress, and he's now stuck behind people with tyres that can go a lot further into this race. So I think it's going to be all about stopping as early as we can with Leclerc and getting the best possible undercut onto the soft tyres. At the same time, we can't risk going too early and forcing an extra stop that the others don't have to do. So we have to time this right. Ideally, we'd come in 2-3 laps before anybody else. So we'll keep an eye on everybody else's tyre wear as well. But I feel it's only another couple of laps before we need to come in, if we need to undercut. So yeah, things are settling down now. A big old gap developing between Van Dorn and that top 10, which is the most worrying thing here. Because we're really out of contention for points at the moment. And I think we're going to have to do something drastic. We're going to bring in Leclerc very early indeed. We're going to put him onto the soft tyres. Make sure we look after them nicely. I mean, even these medium tyres are overheating a little bit. So I might back off with K-Mag and see if he can just keep those temperatures under control. And we'll do a similar thing with Leclerc when he comes back out on the soft tyres. So nobody is in, so he is the first person pitting, so that's going to be to our benefit. We've got a bit of boost to use on the outlap as well. I think the only other car that pitted, Giotto, actually came out behind us, so that's alright. And we'll wait till Leclerc is coming down that main straight to use his boost. Magnussen's got quite a way to go on his medium tyres yet. Right, Leclerc is onto the main straight now, so let's use that boost up. And see if a couple of cars coming in now, or one car. So hopefully we will jump Ricciardo. We do not, but Ricciardo was quite a way ahead of us, so that's a good indicator that we're back in this fight for the top 10. And hopefully we haven't lost a stop, that's the main thing. And it's so difficult to tell why our car is struggling, or why we're struggling on certain weekends, because Leclerc is almost on top form, 9.9. He's got the best car under him out of our team. He's on much fresher tyres, and he's really not making any inroads on that undercut. He's come back out still behind Ocon, who was on the fringes of the top 10. So even with a massive undercut, it's not enough to jump into the top 10. And it might just be this track. We jokingly said that we should be fine on this track for the top 10, but it was jokingly because this track really doesn't suit our car. Our strengths are straight line speed, the engine and gearbox. We're working on bringing the brakes and the wings up to scratch, but at the moment they are our weak points. And on aero-dependent tracks like this, or lots of tracks with slow speed corners and heavy braking zones, it's really going to cost us. So yeah, This could be a tricky race. Magnussen's now up to P7. And has got quite a lot longer to go on those mediums. So I'm quite confident he can do one less stop than people. So there's a good chance for Magnussen to get some points here, I feel. He's got a lot of boost available as well, so we'll probably use that next time round. He's still got another 3 or 4, maybe even 5 laps to go on these medium tyres. I know the temperatures are dropping, but I just want to see how far we can take these mediums to really get a good shot of a good idea of what we can do with strategy this afternoon. Because then we would have run the soft tyres for quite a way, the medium tyres for a long, as far as they will go, and the super softs we've got an idea as well. So this would just give us a good idea in terms of tyre life to try and plan out the rest of our strategy if Magnussen can take these mediums to the end of their life. And I think it gives him the best chance of getting some points. Perez has just stopped onto the mediums then. So Perez going long as well, to be fair. So there's not going to be a huge difference in the strategies. But these guys that stopped early, Verstappen, Stroll, obviously Leclerc, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, we may well gain a stop on with Magnussen. So we'll see how we get on. Right, Leclerc is on to the back of Stroll now. So he's back in the hunt for points. Why did I just use the boost there, you pillock? Just use it on the straight. Just going to see if we can maybe get us past this little gaggle of cars here. It's unlikely, but we could give it a go. At least keep us close. And gives him a run on Stroll down into the right-hander. Doesn't even think about making a move. Oh well. Alright, let's go back up to neutral on these medium tyres. And maximise the last of their life. As I say, I think we're going to try and take these as far as we can. And then go on to the soft tyres and hopefully do 2 stints on the soft tyres. So it'll be a 2-stop race for Magnussen. It's almost certainly a 3-stop for Leclerc. Unless we put the mediums on at the end. I feel we've kind of gone with an aggressive strategy for Leclerc, so we should really stick to it now. We're just going to turn the engines down to try and regain some fuel so that we can safely push for the second half of the race, knowing we've got enough fuel in the bag. So these guys are going to have to stop again soon, and Magnussen is still ahead of Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Verstappen, Ocon and Stroll. So this strategy is working out nicely for Magnussen here. 27 laps to go. We might have to go on to the mediums again. Yeah, I think we're going to go on the mediums again this time around. I don't think we can do 2 stints on the soft tyres. But if we can once again pull 16 or 17 laps out of the mediums, then we should be able to take the soft tyres for the final stint of the race and really push on with Magnussen. So let's put him on to the mediums this time around. I feel they could do another lap or two. But I feel the strategy is now in his favour, and I think with a 2-stop strategy you don't want to wait too long on the tyres. And yeah, look, 11%, another lap and they'd probably be dead. So perfect timing I feel here. And we're getting back out. Right, let's go back to neutral with Leclerc and just try and eke an extra couple of laps out. He's probably going to have to do the same. He's one more stint on the mediums and then one on the softs. And yet again I think we will... that's not straight. I keep looking at the wrong car. Let's use Magnussen's down the straight. There we go. And Leclerc, I feel, let's... Is he... Yeah, he's got time to come in. Let's go on the mediums this time. And we'll put the softs on for the final stint. Interestingly enough, his tyre predictions are a lot longer than K-Mag's. But his tyres aren't lasting anywhere near as long. So I think the game's got it the wrong way round there. But let's bring Leclerc in. Put him on the mediums, and then we can potentially go on to the super softs for the final stint, but most likely the softs. He's obviously out of sync with those 2 stops. There's going to be a mix of 2 and 3 stop races here, I think. So we'll have to wait till the last few laps to really see how these strategies are going to turn out. But the fact that Magnussen still has around an 8-second advantage on Leclerc suggests that Magnussen is probably the better strategy to go with today. But we'll wait and see how it turns out. We'll keep it on neutral because I feel we're safe on tyre life now. We've done the saving we need to, and now we need to start ramping things up if we want to get into the top 10. We'll wait till we've saved a little bit more fuel, and then we will start going on the offensive. Let's use this boost here with Leclerc, see if we can get anywhere near Markelov, who we don't really want to be stuck behind. Verstappen has got a penalty, I presume a time penalty that he will take in the pits, and Magnussen comes out behind him anyway. I think it was a drive-through penalty for Verstappen because he hasn't changed his tyres, so that brings him right back into play in terms of Magnussen, and potentially even Leclerc. I'm inclined to think that Magnussen is the only one that has a chance of points here. Leclerc has fallen too far behind Stroll, Verstappen, Hulkenberg, who are probably going to be fighting for those last few points paying positions with Magnussen. So Leclerc really needs to get past Van Dorn. He's now stuck behind. Let's use a little bit of fuel, a little bit of boost down the main straight. That McLaren's quick in a straight line. Completely unrealistic, this game. How dare they? We should be breezing past Van Dorn on these tyres. And I think he... Oh no, he didn't pass him. Come on, Charles. What are you doing? What are you playing at, lad? How could he not get past this McLaren? We should be way quicker than this McLaren. Right, Leclerc's a lost cause today. I don't know that that's true, but I'm going to pretend it is for the moment. Let's just concentrate on our man K-Mag. I really wanted both cars in the points today. I think our issue is we keep going for alternate strategies because we're never quite sure what the best one is. And it always pays off for one driver and not the other. That might be the disparity we're seeing between the two drivers race to race. Leclerc's race is just being killed here by being stuck behind Kielwitz and Van Dorn, because he's losing pace to that group. And I feel if you put us within range of Hulkenberg, Stroll and Ocon, we can attack. Leclerc can definitely attack them late on, but he's losing touch. That's the problem. He's now 5 seconds short of that group. Magnussen, on the other hand, is going to stop once more, along with most likely most of these guys. I might just do a little bit of fuel saving just to ensure that we can get onto fuel saving, tyre saving, just to ensure that we can get onto the soft tyres at the end of the race. We can probably turn Magnussen's engine back up. Reliability looking good across the board once again, so that's definitely not something we have to worry about this afternoon. And then it's just about choosing the time of the final stops now. The only one I'm worried about is potentially Ocon. He might not have to stop again. But I'm pretty sure Kvyat, Hulkenberg, Stroll... And yeah, I think Verstappen and Kielwitz do as well, because we got a similar tyre life, maybe a little bit less with Leclerc. And I'm almost certain he can't get to the end of the race. This is a long race. Just like the real Singapore Grand Prix, it's probably one of the longest races of the year. 43 laps, and it's a fairly long lap as well. So it feels like we should be coming to the end of this race, but we've got an awful long time to go yet. Leclerc, where is he in regards? Right, he seems to be free now. He's got Kielwitz ahead of him, but Van Dorn has pitted. So let's turn the engine up. Let's go to neutral, and let's start to push a little bit now, and see if he can start making up ground on those guys ahead. He's still got that Renault to deal with of Kielwitz. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's use Magnussen's boost now down these two straights. And really try to ensure that when he pits, he doesn't get stuck in any traffic. Perez has just made... That's got to be second stop for Perez. Yeah, onto the soft tyres. Once again, Auer and Perez are doing such a good job in comparison to their teammates. And it's our... I hesitate to say it, but it's our number 2 driver that's doing the business for us. That also means he's not quite good enough to challenge. I don't know. I think Force India and Williams still have a faster car. I think that's the issue. And we were very lucky with strategy in certain races early on to give us a lot of points. So we'll have to wait and see. Leclerc is not exactly all over the back of Kielwitz, but he does seem to be catching this group ahead, or at least staying 4 or 5 seconds in touch with them. So there's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance for some points for Leclerc. Magnussen, I'm fairly confident, is going to be in this 8th place when everything shakes out. I don't think there's anything he can do ahead of him, but he should be able to wrap up this 8th place pretty without any kind of issues. With 11 laps to go, I think we'll do one more just to make sure we're safe on those soft tyres. The tyres can do it. So let's go one more and then put the softs on next time around for Magnussen. Maybe a little bit of fuel saving needed for the pair of them, but we can do that a little bit later. This is crucial. This is pit stop territory. Final stops of the race for most people. So we need to make sure we get this right. Let's save up the boost to deal with any traffic that we might encounter as well. I'm guessing Magnussen's going to come back out probably just behind Kvyat. Hopefully not too close to him. If he can beat Kvyat out of the pits here, then there's a lot less for him to do. He's got out just ahead of him. That's crucial. Because if Kvyat has got tyres to the end of the race, if we were stuck behind Kvyat, then we could be in serious trouble. I'm going to pull Leclerc in this time round as well, so that he doesn't hold up his teammate. He probably could go a couple more laps and put the super softs on. But I do not want him staying in the way of Magnussen, because Magnussen's got the best chance here of getting some decent points. And you can see he's just about to catch Leclerc, so that was perfect timing. Right. Where is Magnussen? He's not in range of anybody, so I'm not going to start using the boost just yet. We'll save that up for an attack or a defence that we might need towards the end of the session. Leclerc has just been passed by Markelo, so let's use the boost to get back past him. Markelo's got to pit again, but we don't, again, similar thing with Magnussen, we don't want to be stuck behind someone in these crucial laps. Need to keep an eye on tyre temperatures as well. I think we'll probably conserve for the moment, just to make sure we do have that tyre life at the end, because I'm a little worried that Magnussen's taken 20% out of them already. So who have we got? We got Ocon just ahead. Ricciardo is pitting again now. I don't think Magnussen's going to beat him out of the pits. Is he? Oh no, it's Kvyat. He's just... Who's just pitted? Ocon. Ocon's come out in 13th. So that puts Magnussen back into P8. He's got similar tyre life to Stroll behind. Ricciardo ahead is on much fresher tyres. Our is probably out of touch. So as long as we keep a good gap over Stroll, I think 8th, as predicted, is going to be Magnussen's finishing position. Right. Back to back to Leclerc. He's 11 seconds off points. Go away, Kingdom Come Deliverance. I will play you on my own time, okay? Yeah, Leclerc's out of this. He's out of this because he got stuck behind Kielwitz. He's still behind Kielwitz, and he doesn't have the pace to get anywhere near Kielwitz. And this is what's hurt us so much. Let's go to neutral because he's got slightly better tyres than Magnussen. But he just couldn't get anywhere near him. Leclerc's pace has been piss poor. I mean, he's lapping a tenth quicker than Magnussen, so I think it was that early stop that killed him. We tried to use it to jump a few cars, but all it actually did was bring us out behind Kielwitz and Van Dorn. Obviously, we're comfortably ahead of the McLaren now, but we're still behind Kielwitz and don't have the pace to get past him. We might later on. There's a couple of cars ahead. Kvyat's going to be struggling on those mediums. Could be a roadblock. And Verstappen on those super softs will run out pretty close to the end. We've actually got 3 laps to go. So I might attack with Leclerc. Magnussen, he's comfortable ahead of Stroll. There's no chance from catching Ricciardo. But we may as well push. We've got plenty of tyre life left. Car's looking good. We'll use this boost down the straight as well, just to make sure we are completely clear of Lance Stroll. Leclerc, he's now within a second of Kielwitz. Ricciardo might be vulnerable at the end, you know. But 12 seconds is a big old gap. I don't think he's going to be that vulnerable. But we can maybe see points What we need to get points is for Kvyat to start fading, and he's not doing it. He's not fading enough. Let's see if we can get Leclerc at least past Kielwitz at last. It's the penultimate lap, so it's a pretty bitter pill to swallow and a pretty hollow victory to finally get past the Renault. We got 13th, 11th, 12th and 13th in a line here. I don't think Kvyat is going to struggle enough to suddenly drop that. We will watch Magnussen come around the final few corners though. He's done an incredible job today. P8, perfect strategy, and that's where we need him to be, back on form at last. Leclerc crossed the line in 13th. It's not the worst race. I'm turning into Jonathan Ross, if anybody knows him. The late night host over here in the UK. Yeah, it's not the worst race for him, and he's brought home so many points in the last few races when Magnussen has been struggling that I think will allow him this one. The strategy just wasn't quite right, I think. I think on balance, for our car and the pace of our car, the two-stop was a better strategy. And I think if we Leclerc got a really bad start as well. If he'd held grid position and maybe got away from the scrap that Magnussen was in, then maybe he would have had a better chance today. But we'll take 13th, and it's a great 8th place for Magnussen. It keeps the points ticking over. Unfortunately, Sergio Perez was 3rd. For goodness sake. How has he managed that? He did a two-stop and managed to hold on ahead of Bottas and Raikkonen. Oh, God, we cannot catch a break, can we? Williams again scoring heavily. Red Bull scoring okay, even though Verstappen was well out of the top 10. And this is the thing, our best result isn't good enough. If we're going to have one car in the points, it needs to be a 6th, or it needs to be a 3rd. 8th place is great, but it's not going to be good enough when you've got Force India getting podiums like that. And that is going to mean a drastic change in the constructors, I'm sure. Leclerc is now surpassed by Daniel Ricciardo. And Kevin Magnussen's getting back up there. He's got a chance of beating Max Verstappen this season, you know. Just to be maybe replaced by him or Ricciardo. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to say it yet, but if Magnussen somehow turns around that deficit or they end up close, potentially we might keep Magnussen, but I still feel we need that star driver. I still feel we'll go for it. And I think Leclerc will just get better and better. So, hey, we'll talk about that another time. Just 3 points between ourselves and Force India now. It's 11 points to Red Bull and 17 points to Williams. We're going to need a pretty spectacular race. We're going to need a podium or a victory, I think, to try and secure 5th. Because Force India are just getting that one driver, and it's always Perez getting that great result. And same with Williams with our... Red Bull were the one that are actually closest to us on pace at the moment. I think because of bad strategy, to be fair, not necessarily the overall speed of the car. But anyway, that is going to be it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I hope you're enjoying these a bit more regularly now. I think there was a stage where there was almost 2 weeks between an episode, which is not on at all. Leclerc making some decent gains there. Ferrucci, he is gaining as the reserve, just not quick enough. I feel by the time he gets to a sort of 3.5, 4-star driver, he'll be 27 as a reserve slot. So I think we're definitely going to let him go next year and let him gain some experience elsewhere. We'll try and bring in maybe just a cheap-ass reserve, not even someone that we're expecting to be in the car. We'll wait and see. Again, we'll make all those decisions at the end of the year. 3 million in the bank is a very nice touch to top back up after building a scouting facility. And yeah, thoughts for next year or next episode as in terms of what to comment on. I don't know, I guess the only thing we might consider is, do you think we should build another HQ building this year, or as I think I'm going to do, save it all till next year? Maybe that's the talking point to go away from today. But anyway, as per always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.